Welcome, Tana. Good to have you with us.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, this is our Grounded Toward Growth member interview series. And I appreciate you taking the time in the new year to be with us.
I'm happy to
Um,
be here.
yeah. So, can you tell us a bit about yourself and your company and how it came about and the kind of work that you're doing?
Yes. So I am the co-founder and CEO of Waypoint Wellness Center. It is a multidisciplinary outpatient mental health practice in Arundel County. Um, And we have three locations, one in Annapolis, one in Severna Park, and one in Linthicum, Maryland, right by Baltimore Washington Airport. We have psychiatrists, psychologists, social workers, counselors, life coaches, nurses, psychiatric nurses. We are a multidisciplinary mental health practice. We work as a collaborative team to manage the comprehensive needs of children, teenagers, and adults in the community. We were founded in 2015. I was originally trained as a psychologist, and I have my PhD from University of Maryland. I specialized in children with ADHD and behavior problems. And I originally wanted to go into academic research, but really fell in love with direct clinical care and spent about 15 years full-time as a licensed clinical psychologist working with children, teens, and adults with very serious mental health needs. And in 2015, Dr. Allison Kett, who is another psychologist and the co-founder of Waypoint, we formed Waypoint Wellness Center with the intention of really standing out in terms of our ability to effectively and sophisticatedly treat complex medical issues, but do it in a really down-to-earth and caring and connecting way. And since then, the practice has grown tremendously. We do all kinds of different community outreach programs. We work for nonprofit in the Annapolis underprivileged communities. We go to schools and do school mental health consultation. We have a large training program, training the next generation of doctoral psychologists. And we work within corporations and organizations to help them manage the mental health care needs that arise in the members of those communities as well. So I stopped being a clinician in 2022, I think, and devoted my time full time to growing and running Waypoint Wellness Center. And I realized that I had so much to learn. And I was a really good psychologist, but that was really all I was prepared to do. And Waypoint needed a leader. They needed someone that, was able to more effectively steer the organization and more effectively manage and improve the health and wellness of everyone that is a part of Waypoint and all of the community that we serve. So that's kind of what brought me to Vistage, which I know we'll talk about. But it's been a wild ride. Entrepreneurship is, my most recent love of my life. We'll see what the next one is, but it's just never-endingly challenging. But the opportunity to do what you love and make a difference is just tremendous as an entrepreneur. So
That's awesome. No, thank you. That's great backdrop to our conversation. So as you think about back in 2022, making that shift from being a clinician to being a CEO, what did you anticipate it would look like? And how would you compare that to what you've discovered it's about in these last 3 years?
that's a great question. I think, my career has largely been very proactive and strategic and well thought out in terms of my decisions. My exit from being a full-time clinician and my new job of being a full-time owner, executive, whatever I was going to be, really wasn't something I chose or thought out. I burned out. It's a very, very stressful job. It's a traumatizing job. And I got to a point where I knew that I wasn't going to be able to do the work as effectively as I could because of the impact it was having on me emotionally. And all of a sudden, I woke up every day and I didn't have a caseload to take care of. I had a lot of energy. I still wanted to help, but I had Waypoint. Until then, Waypoint grew and has been very successful. But Ali, my Dr. Ket, my co-founder, and I were really able to manage it as kind of our side gig. We weren't really spending too much time thinking about how to improve things organizationally. And so I woke up every day just realizing that I wanted to improve things and I didn't have the tools that I needed to improve them, and that I needed to learn them. And I went to school till I was 30, so learning is okay for me and I love it. And so really just starting to read books and get my mind thinking around our industry, and really starting with my comfort zone, which is mental health, and I know lots and lots about it. But I really didn't have a community to connect with and to brainstorm with. I didn't have any peers that thought about the same things as I did. Everyone else at Waypoint had their caseloads and they had to focus on, that job. And there was no one in the organization to just process where we wanted to go and get ideas and critique me and check me. And so it was just really kismet, I think, when one day I just saw one of your emails, out of a zillion emails that you get, people, kind of offering things or selling things. But I remember what it said, and I remember that moment, and it was a tough moment. And I just checked my email, and in the subject line said, "Is it lonely at the top, Tana?" And I thought, yes, Rick, it is lonely at the top. I was like, let me see what you have to say. And I'm just really grateful for that opportunity, because it's changed my life and changed me as a person, as a professional, and really just given Waypoint new life and a new future with everything that I've learned.
Wonderful. That's great. So as you look back, what would you say are the 2 or 3 most valuable tools or concepts or experiences that you've had with Vistage in learning what it means to be a CEO?
2 or 3. I'd like to start out by saying that the entire first 6 to 12 months of my time in Vistage, being someone that had no training or background in organizational management, leadership, finance, nothing. I remember basically everything that came out of your mouth kind of made me. It was very, it gave me humility, because you said things that were very intuitive and very obvious and were commonly just discussed in the surface levels of management and organization, but was never a part of my training, was never a part of anyone else's background or experience in the roles that I had. And so a lot of the colloquialisms and catchphrases were these. I mean, I just sat there and it was just a light bulb going off, and oh my gosh, duh, first of all, why didn't you know that or try that or do that? But 2, it was very empowering, because it was very therapeutic for me when a client or a patient would come to therapy for the first time. I could give them very basic coping skills, and it kind of blew their mind and changed their life. And it was so fun, and they were able to use it and feel so much more empowered in managing their mental health. Yeah. And it was very therapeutic for me to be in Vistage, because I think just getting the basics and really getting my mind to think about these things and getting my mind to understand that there's all of this science and tried and true methodologies and ways to explain it that are out there that I didn't have for the first, 10 years of running my organization. So it was, stressful, and I said some things along the way that were embarrassing and I will never live down, that truly showed my, ignorance about, some of the really basic things about growing and running a business. But it was worth all of that, because I've learned a lot, and I can, show up to work every day really feeling like I can give Waypoint what it deserves and give my staff, the kind of environment and the kind of, organization that they can feel proud to work for.
That's great. That's great. So I think of your group, your chief executive group, and how much pride they take in you now being able to talk about balance sheets and income statements and cash flow um, as easily as they, and that wasn't always the case. So they've kind of taken ownership of you and your evolution, and really of one another. I mean, that's what we do. But tell us more about your experience with the group. What is it about not being lonely anymore uh, through Vistage?
Um, Well, it was really intimidating for me to go to the first meeting. Um, it was really entering a world that I didn't know the language. I didn't, I wasn't able to be as effective, or, impactful as I was in the mental health world that I existed in. And also I was in a female dominated profession in mental health, and Vistage is a male dominated. The CE groups, I think, are, mostly male. And I kind of understood that was probably what I was walking into. And I'll be honest, I really enjoyed my conversation with you, Rick. I felt a lot of trust in, your values and the way that you approached, running the group, but I didn't have very good high expectations for, what the group was gonna be like and how I would feel in the room. And but it's been just an incredible outlet for me. Rick, I think truly the reason that our group functions as well as it does, because we're very connected, we're very supportive, we're very honest, we hold each other accountable, we do all the hard things with each other, but we, it's very, out of love and support. And I think you're very good. I think you have a little psychologist in you. I think that's why, I felt connected to you, but you understand people and you understand how, to find the right values, and the right goals in the potential members, and you're protective of us, and, you are truly dedicated to making everything that we do a great experience. And I think you have selected, although it's mostly men every month for years now, I think you have found the kind of men that really are going to help women make more of a way in the world. And I know I've talked with the other women in the different groups, and we are just universally impressed and grateful for your leadership and the fact that you have created these spaces that are truly safe and accepting and empowering for women to kind of learn and grow and show vulnerability. So the group in general are just really good people it's really special.
And we would like more women, and it is a challenge. Just the numbers, I think statistically it's about 20% of businesses are owned and run by women. So we would like to find more. Thank you. That's very helpful. So one of the big aspects to our meeting is uh, issue processing. So it's a very simple formula where someone puts on the flip chart, how do I fill in the blank, and then we go through a process of asking in-depth questions without getting into solutions, so that we get depth and breadth about the issue. We then ask the people in the room, what are you hearing as the issue? Is it different than what the individual put up there? Is there how do I? So we're all kind of seeing that elephant from a different angle. And then we ask the individual, do you want to modify the question you're asking the group? And usually they do. I think 95% of the time it's modified. And then we get into solutions, and we share our ideas as to how you might solve the issue or opportunity. What's been your experience with issue processing, and where have you found value in doing that?
So I definitely, as a, there's one member of the group that brings up the issue and the rest of the group queries and supports. As an audience member participating in that part of issue processing, it is a challenge to my patients, and I know I break the rules every time we do it. I cannot put the right questions in the right format. I'm like the ADHD, and very energetic and wants to solve the problem kind of executive. I think a lot of us are. And it's hard. I think that exercise of slowing, not just fixing things, not just thinking I know what the solution is without getting enough background information, without really understanding the person that you're trying to help. I think there is so much value in that process. And it really teaches us to get the kind of information that we need to make any decision in our professional role. And I don't know if, people really think about just how much brain muscle we're getting, just trying to be an audience member and supporting and contributing. But I think it's a great exercise to do for on a regular basis for all of us. And then when you get to be the person that brings the issue and presents it, it really is, it's like one of those, it's like when you've been in a dark room and you open up the curtains and it's a beautiful sunny day and the whole perspective changes and you see things, in a way that you weren't able to before. It's really, it's when you're experiencing it, it kind of reminds you of just how easy it is for us to get stuck in, getting things done, and we are the leader and we know what's best. But, sometimes I think people bring up issues that are really kind of operationally or financially complex, but sometimes they're bringing up a pretty simple business issue and there's an emotional block, that they just need to kind of get out.
No, yes, absolutely. Thank you. One of the things, in addition to the monthly full day meeting, we also do 90 minutes every month, one-to-one.
Mm-hmm.
So can you describe what is the value you receive from the one-to-one, and how do you juxtapose that value to the value of the group, kind of the linkage between the two?
Mm-hmm. And I think the one-to-ones can really, evolve more individually to, each member, which is cool, because I think there's been times where my one-on-ones, especially the first year, it was accountability. No one else was checking on this stuff. I wouldn't have budged on anything if, you weren't showing up every month and asking me about, pulling up the notes from last meeting and making sure that I did those things and had those things. And really, another thing is that you'd give me homework a lot of times, and I would think I did the homework. I'd be like, here you go, Rick. And you'd be like, that's not at all what I asked you to do.
I wasn't clear.
No, I mean, I truly think there was like a language barrier at first, that I wasn't as familiar with your world, and you certainly weren't used to, the things we deal with in our day to day. So it was a really valuable process, but I also, really got myself more organized. It was, a wake up call to me that I needed to function better, in these kinds. My old job, I just talked all the time, and that was it. I woke up, I went to work, I talked, and I went home, and that was it. No homework, no presentations, no deadlines. So it was a big adjustment. You were very patient, and I never feel judged or not believed in. But then really the next year was developing more strategic plans, kind of layering on some more advanced understanding about things. The first 18 months, really, to me, when you join Vistage and you're someone that has neglected, all of the cleaning up that you've needed to do around your business, it's getting to all the cans that you've kicked down the road for 5 years, and just checking them off your list. And I remember getting to the point with you, it was so exciting. I was like, there was just a lot of things that we had to fix, mistakes that we made, repairs and tough conversations. But really there was an end to that, and we switched into, let's think about the future, like let's grow this, like let's we don't have to fix all of the problems, we can just make things better. And Waypoint as an organization really became more energized, and the vibes better, things are flowing better. And we just, I really think we went from not really knowing or having a future to having a future that we're so excited about. So it's been really fun to kind of see how those one-on-ones really have evolved, and I feel a little proud, because you don't have to micromanage me anymore, and I think you have more faith in me and my autonomy, and so and a lot of times those one-on-ones too are a kind of like a private place to just talk about the more personal or emotional things that are interfacing with our role or the group or things like that. You are absolutely just a great person to talk to, a great listener, and always are, helpful in any kind of personal, professional. You're just a resource, for whatever we need to be good humans, and therefore, good at all the other things we're trying to do.
Great. No, yeah, again, thank you. So time commitment. So one of the big questions we get is, I'm not sure I have the time. And it is one full day a month and then 90-minute one-to-one a month. And so often my response is, well, that's the best reason to come, because what we're going to do is take a look at what you're doing, why you're doing all that, and what does it mean to be spending more time working on the business and less time in the business. And it's usually that busy work in the business that, as owner CEO, we need to be letting go of and delegating to others. And sometimes that's hard to do. And I don't have the people to delegate to. I don't have the right people to delegate to. So all that kind of stuff. So where and how do you make the time for Vistage and being there for those meetings?
Yeah, I mean, no one has the time. I'm a working mom, and I have a zillion things that I keep up with, and there's a ton of other ways I could be spending a full day every month. And I think, there are some times where genuinely you don't have enough time, but if it needs to be temporary, right? If you've not had enough time for years and years, that's when you need to make time for Vistage, because you're not getting out of this, problem that you're in. And I think anytime that you're just feeling very stuck, and not able to, move things the way you maybe have been in the past, that's another indicator that you have to make time for Vistage. And I think, so I think there are, definitely times when things are too busy, but they shouldn't be long term. And when you do commit to Vistage, most of us are there every month, but it's okay to have things get busy. No one's gonna send you to, no one's gonna give you a ticket for not coming to the meetings. And but really, you don't want to miss them, because
Yeah.
I think time is equated to value in a lot of ways in our mind. Do we value what we're going to spend our time doing enough to do it? And if you haven't participated in Vistage, it's really hard to understand what kind of value add it's going to have. I remember when I was in college, like the first couple of semesters, I always tried to go to, exercise or be outside. And the first couple of finals, I spent a month being like, I don't have time and, too much to do. And my grades weren't that good. And it was not working out. And the first semester that I was like, maybe the times when I feel like I don't have enough time to exercise are the most important times that I should exercise. And it was, very simple, but if I tried it, it worked. And then you don't need more proof after that. So I think giving yourself an opportunity, and understanding that sometimes things are really too busy, but it is, what it does, and really you miss it if you can't make it for a month, and you end up feeling like you wish you had someone to bounce ideas off or get questions answered or figure things out or consult. So just going that gets you over that hump, because it's worth it. It's worth it to make that time, and it makes everything else function better, and it makes your life better. But you're only going to really understand that unless you give it a chance.
Unless you get into it and get involved.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. So my last question is, what advice or counsel would you provide someone who is considering Vistage? I think especially women CEOs, women business owners, and or first-time CEOs.
Yeah, I think, especially for the women out there, just the world needs more women everywhere in all the ways. We make everything better. So, and I know my step into entrepreneurship was really challenging. I didn't have any role models that were women. There was no one that had done this before, no one that understood me, no one that looked out for me. Allie and I were outsiders. We were in a female-dominated field. I didn't really feel, my femininity, was causing problems for me in the world until I tried to become more successful. When I became a doctor and when I was with professors, and then when I became a business owner, I think I experienced people looking at me and not understanding, who I was, what my potential is, and really not being willing to, see me and, include me. And so it's really important for any, females in business to come together and be connected. And it's really important for us to find our male peers that are, a lot allied with us and are going to be resources for us, because there's just a lot of good people in these communities, and the Vistage groups that you have are really proof of that. Finding someone in the group, I think if you prefer to connect one-on-one with people, I know Rick will, if he meets someone that he thinks would want to talk to me out of everyone in the group, we can have one-on-one conversations, we can meet for coffee, we can do a quick call, whatever works. But also you can come and just attend a group and really just see, what it's an experience that you feel like you would, would fit well with you.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking the time, sharing your experience, your insights. I think that there are many people who are have incredible opportunity, as you've discovered, and you just look at some of your new clients are very exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Really new approaches that you've taken that have probably been sparked or at least supported by some of the folks in the room. So it's just great to see where you've come from and where you're going to, and we welcome others to come talk to us about it.
Yeah, and if anyone feels self-conscious that they might, seem like or look like a fool because of their lack of knowledge, I'm pretty sure it's going to be hard to beat me in that role. I think anyone that is inexperienced to be better than I was. So I just want you to know that. I think, and if someone were to beat me, I think we'd all give them a medal because
Yeah,
it would be impressive. But
that's just a fun challenge. That's all.
yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
absolutely.
But yes, all are welcome, and yeah, it's a place to just learn. I think as long as you're learning, we're happy to have you. So
Moving forward. Great. Well, thank you. Thanks
yeah,
again.
thank
Okay.
you, Rick.
Okay. Bye bye.